Alright guys, this will be a helpful video for the arithmetic of graphs. This is your homework that was assigned Wednesday the 9th. So let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at an example actually. Let's say I have two different graphs. This black line represents f of x, this red line represents g of x, and let's say I want to produce the graph of f plus g of x. I know this is kind of a faint marker, so it's hard to see, but what I did was basically, and just as a little disclaimer, we're not working with actual numbers in these cases, so you have to use a little bit of guesswork. So there's going to be like a little room for error, a little room for variability, and that's completely okay. So notice both my f of x and g of x graphs, they start right here, okay? Which means f plus g of x would be, well, if I add the two outputs at this point, I get a point that's about double. It's about twice as much as the original two. So my graph is going to start right there, okay, approximately. Notice then f of x goes up, g of x goes slightly down, but if we're adding all of the outputs along those lines, we're steadily growing up because these graphs are both positive, which means if you add those two, you're going to get something that's even higher than the f of x graph. So that's why I have a curve that begins to go up. And then what happens right here? Well, there's not as much of a climb. There's not as much of an increase. So what I start to do is I start decreasing the graph right there, because if we were to add all the outputs starting here, if we were to add them up of the two graphs, notice there is a trend that would probably be going a little bit downward, okay, because f of x is going down at a pretty fast rate. G of x is beginning to swing up a little bit, so it wouldn't be a drastic decrease, but there would be probably a slight decrease. And then right here, the two graphs are together, so the output would probably be twice that distance, which would probably be about right here. So that's where my graph is located. And then there's a trend that moves probably upward again, because f of x is kind of plateauing and going back up. G of x is going up pretty far, so there'd be a pretty huge, or there'd be a little bit of an increase, and it'll probably start to flatten out near the end. So that's my best explanation on this. Do the best you can. It is going to be a little bit of guesswork on your part, and that's okay. You'll have time in class on Friday to compare the graphs with other peers in your class. If you have any questions, email me, okay? You have my email address, chris.parchert@gmail.com, or you can look on the syllabus and use my Amy Buell address. It all goes to the same place, so email me if you have questions. Thank you.